You're listening to the Traffic and Conversion Show. I'm your host, Michelle Fernandez, and joining me today is Ashley Braswell. You are in for a treat because she has such a contagious enthusiasm and a knack for simplifying the complex. Ashley truly believes that paid ads don't have to be scary, hard, or expensive. So, whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, she is on a mission to empower you to amplify your voice and impact with Facebook ads. So, outside of business, Ashley is the girl who loves traveling, corny jokes, great coffee, and an extra full glass of Pinot Grigio. She believes in community over competition, ethical marketing, and widening circles so everyone has a place. Get excited because we are diving into the top 3 low cost, high impact meta ads working right now with Ashley Braswell. So stay tuned. Hey there, it's Michelle, and today Ashley Braswell is joining me. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I know we just had a minute and we got all caught up from the last time we saw each other and gone over the holiday season. So I know how amazing that you are. Can you tell us a little bit more about you, who you serve, and what you help them do?
Yeah, absolutely. You're so kind. So my sister and I have a company called the Paid Ad Academy, and we serve business owners, small business owners, primarily female small business owners, with running Facebook ads. And so we help people who are maybe a little bit scared of running ads, or maybe they've been burned before. And we have a tiered approach to that with, membership, and then we have more help that's more personalized up the line. But we love our Big Break Club members, which is our membership.
I love it. And I love that you work with your sister. They are the two of the most genuine, honest, fun loving, right? You guys are always so happy with smiles on your face. It's just so nice to see,
Oh.
especially with the business that you're in. Because when I first started, I did have an ads agency. And the reason why I shifted away is because it's stressful running ads. Like, let's just be real. I think I got way more grays than I thought I would ever. Um,
Mhm.
and at the same time, it's so exciting
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
work on the ads because it's like you do it and then it's like when you get it to work you're like, yeah, and I'm getting all these more leads and more sales and
Yes.
whatever, right? more
Yes.
more followers and stuff like that. So it's like exciting. It kind of reminds me, the other day I was, because I love like Law and Order, right? Like
Yeah.
all those murder mysteries, like Dateline
Yes.
and stuff. And every time the jury goes out for deliberation, like I'm like, that prosecutor, like the lifespan, what
Right.
is their blood pressure? They must be on medication. I feel like it's very similar for ads managers, right? Because it's like you launch this to the world, and then
Yes.
it's like the stress of like what's going to happen, you
Yes.
know?
100%. And it's so funny because people are, and we're the same way, right? When we run our own ads, we're like, we turn them on and we're like, oh my gosh, are these gonna work? Are these not gonna work? And like, it's ridiculous how nervous we still get because you're paying a third party to show your stuff. You're like, are they gonna do what they're supposed to do? Is it gonna work right? Are the right people gonna see it? Are we gonna get trolled? Like, there's so much, but we typically just start with something really simple. Most of the time we go pretty inexpensive for like the majority of our clients, unless they're like ready to go, right? They're like,
Hmm.
let's hit it. We need to have 1,000 purchases this week. I'm like, oh gosh, whoo, let's spend some money then. But even I still get nervous with that. So I think that's just human nature, honestly.
And that's good to hear because you are the pro. This is like you are the expert in this thing. And it's nice to hear that even the experts still feel this way. So, as someone doing it themselves or what have you, or even when you give it up to the ads manager, you're still like, oh my gosh, they're now in charge of my money, right? So, it's
Mhm.
good to hear that you feel that way and you also get results. So, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you share your journey of how you got to being an ads manager?
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about this because so I have a podcast too where we talk to other women about like how they got started in business. And it's
Hmm.
my favorite because like 90% of people, it's just totally accidental. Like, and the same story for me too. Like it was a total accident. I used to be a social worker, actually. That's what I went to school for. I was a foster care social worker, and that job was extremely stressful, as you can imagine. I was working in the government, so I was like just crazy. And so I actually left that profession to go back to school and get my master's degree so I could help more and be more prepared to help. But while I was there, I was actually working for the school so that I would have free tuition. And I had my second baby, and I was like, I do not want to go work for someone else after this. And so I needed to find a way to stay home. And I had been kind of dabbling in photography throughout college. And so I went full time with my photography, and I was a full time wedding photographer for 10 years. And that was so amazing and so great. But, it's a weekend job. It's very hectic, night times, all the things. I had little kids. So it was just really hard. And my husband is an airline pilot, so he travels a lot. And we were not living by family. It was just a really hard period of time. And so at one point, because we were moving all the time for my husband's job, really hard to restart a service-based business, like just really
Hmm.
hard. And so I had taken on like a side gig for a boutique in town in Georgia. And I was just taking their pictures. And then they're like, oh, can you run our social media? And I was like, oh, I mean, I run my own social media, so why not? And then they're like, oh, can you do our Facebook ads? And I was like, well, as any Enneagram 3 type A oldest daughter would do, I was like, I can learn. Let's go.
Right.
So I learned how to do their Facebook ads, and I was like, this is cool. And so when we left Georgia and moved back to Charlotte at the time, I was like, I can run an ad for my own photography business. And I did. And I booked out my entire season in like 2 weeks with $300. And this was
Wow.
2016, but it was life changing for my family, like absolutely just life changing. And so I would go to networking events with other photographers, trying to make friends, all the things. And they would ask me, they're like, well, how in the world did you already book your season out and you just moved here? And I was like, girls, Facebook ads are the way to go. And so then I just started teaching my friends, and then other people wanted me to run their ads. And it really just escalated really quickly. And so from 2016 to like 2019, it was the slow like shift away from photography and more into Facebook ads. And right actually at the end of 2019, I was like, this makes sense. I have almost 3 kids. I was pregnant at the time. I was like, I should just stop doing photography and I should go full time with Facebook ads. So I stopped taking weddings, which that was a God thing because 2020, as you know, the wedding industry
Right.
like devastated. And I started doing Facebook ads. And so 2020 was my first full-time year, and it went bonkers because that was the only marketing pretty much anyone could do. And so it's just
Hmm.
been a wild ride since then for sure. But it's such a joy, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy the people I work with so much. And working with my sister is just like the cherry on top.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, I love that story. So I didn't know all the details, but it's so cool to see like where you came from, what that road was, right? And I
Yes.
remember my journey was seems a little not the same, but a little similar to yours. But I remember um like because I started back like in 2015, 16, like kind of what do I do? I want to spend more time, with my kids.
Yeah.
And I remember, you're what how I started was I wanted to do something to be able to stay home. And then I got into network marketing, and that's what led me into learning digital marketing. And I
Yes.
remember hearing these things where they're like, you need to know your purpose and da 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 da. And I was like, what is my, I don't know. And then it was like, take the skill that you have and then that's what you teach. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the mortgage business. First of all, I want to get out of the mortgage business and I don't want to teach other people how to process loans, right? And it's funny, and even like what I think is so cool and what I think is amazing about this online world is it doesn't have to be that cut and dry, because as you're learning this, just like you did with the wedding, it's like, okay, now how am I going to grow this? I need to learn marketing. And then now you realize you have a new skill. So when you're looking to come into this world, or what are you going to promote? Or maybe you're even promoting something now that you're like, okay, I like it, but it's not like what I want to do. But what other skills have you learned that maybe you're a few steps ahead, or you realize it comes easy to you and not as easy to everyone else, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing that you were able to be like, okay, because if you look at it, taking pictures versus being digital marketing, analyzing the data, finding out like there's so many things that go and it doesn't even seem it aligns, and yet it does, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
absolutely.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about meta ads, right?
Yes.
And like I want to kind of get into today, like what we should be doing, what's working now, if what, and no matter even what stage you're at, we can even dive into like if you're new and you're wanting to add ads. Let's start there. So let's just say, you're adding your marketing like meta ads into your marketing strategy in 2025. Like where should you go, how should you get started, what should we prepare, like all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like to take a little bit of a more holistic kind of take on Facebook ads because I really think that if you don't, you're going to miss some opportunities. So I like to always tell people like what does it look like from the time your ideal customer finds you? Like first of all, how do they find you? Are they just like coming upon you on social media? Are you word of mouth? Are you, whatever, SEO? How are they finding you? And then what is the end goal you want for those customers? Do you have like a high level product? Are they coming in through an email list? Like just kind of sketch it out and see what it looks like. And this is an ideal scenario, right? Like we're not talking about if they leave, if they forget you exist, if those things, because we're going to take care of that. We're just going to do ideal situation. They follow you the whole way. And so after you kind of map that out, then I like to I normally do this on like a big whiteboard because it just makes my heart happy. But I normally put like little X's on the spots where people could fall off, where there's holes. I know this is technically a funnel, but the word funnel sometimes like overwhelms people. So I'm like, just a journey, a map, like
Right, right.
all the things. And then we put X's on the spots where they fall off, which is typically like they follow you on social, but then they don't see your social again because they didn't interact enough. Or they went to your website one time, finding out on SEO, and then they bounced after a couple minutes and forgot you existed. So, I mean, very common things. This is not like one person's problem. This is like every person's problem, pretty much.
Right, right.
Yeah, so then we place band-aids over it, and the band-aids are Facebook ads for us. There's lots of band-aids though. I don't pretend that Facebook ads are the only marketing method or even that they're the best marketing method, but they are effective and they're what I know. So that's what I teach to people, and you can control them, which I really, really like because you really can't control your social media. You can't control if they join your email list or not. There's just a lot you can't control. But Facebook ads, if you give them $10, you can pretty much, if you know how to like target or whatever, you can guarantee that $10 worth of your people are going to see those, whatever, those ads, those posts. So I like that. And typically, the most common strategy, if you want to call it that, for Facebook ads is to find a way to get people to that front part where they're getting to know who you are. Find a way to encourage them to take a next step. Most of the time, I recommend a lead magnet because then they're on your email list and you can market to them a lot cheaper. And then the last one's going to be retargeting all these people who've interacted with you in some way, whether they've been on your socials, your website, whatever it is, retargeting them to some of your paid offers so that you can make money too. So there's a ton of Facebook ad strategies, but if you're just getting started, normally I recommend those three to get you like kind of up and running. And then we can talk more about like, oh, I have a tiny offer, or I have a shop, or I have, this, and we can kind of go into those things.
Yeah, I love that you said that too, that you can guarantee they're going to see it, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to do Google." And I'm like, "Yes, but then you have to search for it to find it, or you have to have been somewhere for then it to retarget you, right?" Where the Facebook ads, you are putting it in front of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they might be even searching, they might even know they have a problem and or know that there's a solution to that problem and
Mm-hmm.
search, but maybe your company's not even coming up. So again, they still don't know you exist. But then when they, even if when they do that, then you still come up. I always tell
Yeah.
that story because we were all sick, and that was when the whole the vitamin where they give you an IV with the
Oh,
vitamin,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't even know like where there's one around me. Like, I don't know. We were talking, my sister-in-law was like, oh yeah, we had somebody come to our house and did that. So I looked into it and it was like $400 for each person. I'm like, okay, we're not that sick, right? Whatever. So then all of a sudden, I started to get these ads for a place that I can literally walk to from my house, right? So it was like,
Huh.
I would have never known that that existed. However, as I started doing anything, that put that right in front of me. And that would not have happened with Google and or YouTube because I'm not on YouTube, right? So that's why everybody's like, they're not loving to give their money to Zuckerberg. However, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, and it's funny you say that because I try to explain to people that it's a disruptive type of marketing, which sounds bad, but it's good in the way that we're using it because it's so powerful. And on search-based marketing, they have to search for it. But here we're disrupting their scroll on the platform that is proven to be the largest social media platform in the world. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's like billions of people are on Facebook, and then about
Mhm.
half, I think, is on Instagram. So it's just a great platform to be able to interrupt what they're doing and provide them value. That's the way I look at it. Now, of course, we know that not all marketers are good, not all people on
Right.
Facebook are good, but I like to say we're going to use our power for good and not evil, and we're going to help our people. And because we're good people on Facebook, we're going to elbow out the bad guys. That's how I choose to look at it. But yeah, it's so cool. And it's funny because the local markets are actually way easier to use Facebook ads for than online markets. Like online markets, it works, but if you have like a little coffee shop or a little, like you were talking about the vitamin place, like, oh my gosh, you can target like a 20-mile radius around your shop and it's like a couple $100 a month. Like it's so easy and it's so good for those. So I'm always like, if you own a shop, you should run ads. Let me tell you, it's like
Exactly.
one campaign and it's perfect.
Exactly. Okay, I love all this. Okay, so let's start with like kind of where do we get started? How do we prepare if this is something that we want to do? Or, and I always say this because I always feel like somebody asked me the other day, I was like, I love doing dishes and I love doing laundry. And they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, because I feel like it's a clean start, right? We're cleaning everything. We're starting from scratch with like all new, whatever. So even if you are currently running ads or you have a marketing strategy in place, no matter where you are in the year, I always say once a month, once a quarter, look at it. And even if it's like, okay, it's like if you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe it's time to get something even better. So even if your ads are performing, it's like there's always a better thing. So where should they start to and then prepare? I guess prepare to start.
Yes, no, absolutely. So Facebook ads are constantly changing. I mean, that platform is just ridiculous. The things they want you to do, the new tools they're coming out with, the AI they're coming out with, there's so many options. So if it depends on how much time you have to get to it, but I typically tell people, let's start simple. So you want to make sure you have your ad account set up correctly. Even if you've been running ads, always double check it. I mean, every single time we get into clients' ads, even if they're like, oh, I've spent $50,000, and I'm like, I don't care. We're looking at what your setup looks like because I so often I'll be like in there and I'll be like, your Facebook is not connected to your Instagram, or your pixel is not the correct pixel that's on your website, which is just easy tracking. So you want to have your Facebook business page, you want to have your Instagram business account. You want to have a Facebook pixel or a data set. What Facebook likes to change the names of stuff just to keep us on
Yes.
our toes sometimes. Yeah, it's real fun, let me tell you. But yeah, it's just tiny piece of code that you just copy paste. Really, really simple. They like to make it sound hard, but it's super easy. And then you want to just make sure that all of those things are connected. And you want to make sure you have a billing something in there. So, I mean, those steps are very, very simple. And then once you have that done, then you want to come up with a strategy. So that's what is your plan? What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Most of the time, people are like, I'm trying to grow my Instagram, get in front of new people. I'm trying to get email leads. I'm trying to make money. Like, we're all businesses. We're all trying to make money in the end, right? So cool, let's do it. So we're gonna look at your Instagram or your Facebook, wherever your main platform is. And if you've existed in the business world for a while, you probably have some content on there, whether it's new or old, that really resonated with your people. And so I'm going to teach you just how to put some money behind it. Like let's get that out into the world to new people. Even if your current people have seen it already, still, let's get it out into the world to new people so that they can see some of your best content and come hang out with you. And so that's really inexpensive. I mean, typically we start with $5 a day on that. And targeting is so much easier on Facebook now because of the AI. So there's a lot of great ways that you can target your people. That's just like, hey, I want to talk to moms who are in business. Like easy peasy. That's like two button pushes, right? And so it seems overwhelming, but if you have like a step-by-step situation, it's normally pretty simple. And then after we figure out like what your setup's going to be, then we're going to talk about your copy and creative, which is honestly now we're in just marketing, right? Like we're just talking about how are you going to, what's your angle? Like, are you going to talk about testimonials? Are you going to talk about the problem? Are you going to, what's your angle? And so we have like, I think 14 that we typically are like, which one makes the most sense for you and your people? And then we pick a couple to start with. And with Facebook ads, the caveat to this is that you got to have a super strong hook because people do not have a long attention span. So, regardless of the type of content you're putting out there, the first like line of your copy needs to be super strong. Like it's got to stop the scroll. And the same thing with your creative. If you're doing a video or a picture or a graphic, it needs to be something that's going to stop the scroll. And so if you're running ads, it's 2025, early 2025. What's working right now is video and really lo-fi, which just means like you took it with your phone. It's not polished. It's like it's people want genuine. I think there's so much AI right now that's making everything look so polished that they just want to know you're a real person. And so if you have a personal brand, like, oh my gosh, please take a picture, take a video, do something that shows people you're real. And 9 times out of 10, those do really well. I mean, we had a client who, bless her, she spent thousands to have professional photos done. I mean, she didn't ask us, okay? But she's in New York City. She's super cool. I mean, like, I love this girl. So she had been doing ads for a while and she was like, oh, I'm gonna make these videos. And so she did, and every single one of them flopped, like big time. And the ones that worked were her just like overhead taking a video with her phone of her, she sells like a planner, of just
Mhm.
flipping through the planner every time, every time. Those were the ones
Mm.
that worked the best. So that's that's the basics. And then of course there's you have to tweak things and test things, and that's a whole other ball game. But I always say like small tweaks add up over time. So
Yeah.
that's kind of our approach. And then the scientific method of only changing one little thing at a time so you know what's working. So that's like a huge, huge thing boiled really down.
Well, and I love it because yes, and it is simple. Yes, I know you said a lot, and it is a lot, like in the back end and putting it. However, it is simple to do because it's like the pixel thing. I do see that a lot, and that's just like, okay, I'm gonna copy, paste, save, you're done, right? So it seems over every time you say pixel to some people, they're like, what? And they freak out. But it's
Yeah.
really not a big deal. You just need to make sure everything's matchy matchy, and
Hmm.
then you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And I'm loving the fact that you gave that example of the produce versus what did you call it? Lo-fi?
Lo-fi. Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
from the music world. Hmm.
Because I think that a lot of people do think like, oh, I can't get started because I don't have my video and this and with the B-roll and how it keeps cutting and whatever. And I'm like, you don't need that. And and to your point, when you said the AI thing, okay, I went to a conference. I went this year and I went last year. Well, not in 24. I went 24 and 23. And that's when they really showed the AI and how you could create this video where it's you and your mouth is moving, but those are not the words you say.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, OMG, my first thought was, oh my gosh, anybody can then pose as an expert.
Yeah, which is terrifying, right?
I know, because I'm
Yeah.
like, but then how do you know? And then, as I'm scrolling through Instagram, I will send like my husband and I, do you do this with your husband? It's like you share like these crazy stories or something funny
Gosh,
or whatever.
if anyone gets a hold of our message
I
conversation, they're gonna
know.
think we're like the weirdest people in the world. Yes.
Right? It's like they think that's funny, whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm like sending it and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. And my husband's like, that's AI. That's not real, whatever. And I'm like, but is it? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I think with the lo-fi approach, period, even going forward, um,
Mm-hmm.
is probably so good because everybody's onto this AI thing. Everybody knows what it can do, and everybody is like, this looks a little sketch to me, right? And then when it's really you with your thing and you're like fumbling through or whatever it looks like, then they know that that's really you. And that's what you want to. I'm always about, I think what I've discovered in being in this business is that this whole like, everybody talks about authenticity, but I really feel it's making these connections and people have to feel connected with you because that's where it starts to build the relationships. So if you start off like, oh my gosh, she's super fancy because she has all these videos, or oh, I think that she's kind of not real or whatever, you don't want to have that be your first impression because people cannot relate to you like that in order for them to connect to you to then build the relationship.
Yep.
So I'm loving that you're saying this. Because then you can also just get started much quicker than what you think you can. So
Oh,
there's no excuses.
No, it's so much easier. And honestly though, I will tell you, this has been going on for a long time. Even when I very first got started with Facebook ads in 2016, when I took photos for that boutique, I took my big old camera in there because I'm a wedding photographer, right? Like these are gonna look dang good. And they did. But you know what performed better was my old cell phone, like iPhone 7 or something, like taking snapshots of the clothes just hanging up in the store every single dang time. It made me so mad. Like I was so irritated by it, but that's always what performed best. And so
Yeah.
across the board, it has always been in the industries that we help, it's been real people being genuine with less produced content 99% of the time. And it's hard coming from like the wedding industry, which is like all polished and it used to be, pastels and all this stuff. It's never been the most effective way, which is super unfortunate if you love art and stuff, but it's just not like people want real people, and I think that's just human nature too.
Exactly. And you need to listen to what people want, right? Even if it kills you yourself. Like me with funnels, like somebody said orange buttons work. And I'm like, but the colors don't match with the like the branding colors don't match with the orange button. So it drove me crazy. But let me tell you, that page was converting at like 70%. So
Dude,
I'm
that's
like,
so wild.
I'm gonna
That
put
would
an
drive me
orange
crazy
button.
too. It's like, do you want
Yes.
money or do you want to be pretty?
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, okay. It drove me crazy. Like my brain, my eyes could not stand it. However, it worked. Like that was the thing that got that at that particular time, right? We're talking about what's working now, especially with ads, like what works. So it's like, even if it's with every fiber of your soul, you're like, "Ugh, do it because you know what's working. Okay. So now that they're prepared and what have you, like really what kind of campaigns should they start to run?
Yeah. So it's a different answer if you have an existing community versus if you're brand new and just getting started. So either way, if you've never run ads before, you're just trying to get something out the door, I would say run something that introduces you to a cold audience who doesn't know who you are. And we can target that with ads. That's the cool part because you probably already have that content on your Facebook or Instagram because anyone in those worlds is going to tell you to have some kind of introductory post. So I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say, do a like, I really, really like POV ads, like that are the B-roll ones. And so it's like POV for me, it's like you're a small business owner with 3 kids at home. You are normally running around on 2 wheels trying to get them to all the different places, but you still need to grow your email list because you've got to make money. So you're going to run a Facebook ad, right? And so like I word it better than that, but that's what I put on the POV reel. And I'm like, if this is you, you're in the right place. Come hang out with us. And so those types of ads work really well. They're speaking directly to my people in a way that, I normally market to people who are similar. I think a lot of us have our ideal clients who are similar to ourselves sometimes. And so it's just easier to speak to them that way. And then they're in your world. And now you go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I didn't mean to cut you out, but when you said come hang out with us, so what is that call to action? Where are you saying to come hang out with them?
So I'm either asking them to come to Instagram or to Facebook, one or the other. And so the whole purpose of this campaign that I'm telling you about right now is to build we call it a ghost list, but
Mm-hmm.
basically what it is you're building an audience on these platforms and you don't have their information, you don't know who they are, but Facebook knows. And
Got
so
it.
then later you're going to use Facebook's information to allow you to run very low cost ads in more expensive campaigns, because if you're just asking Facebook to keep people on their platforms but just show them your stuff, it's so cheap, like so cheap. You will get hundreds and hundreds of people for $5 a day, up it to $10 a day, and you're looking at thousands of new eyeballs. But if you were to run a sales campaign to those same people, you're going to be spending a ton of money and you might get a dozen, 100, whatever, but you're going to spend a ton of money. However, if we do it this way, when you are ready to run a sales campaign, you only run it to the people who interacted with this first one, and you can spend like $2 a day, and you already know that those are the people who are interested.
Exactly. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
I
I could
didn't
talk
mean to
about this
interrupt.
all day.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
I know, and I
it.
love it. I love it because, like, so it would just be like you would do a CTA, like comment in this or like this, or it's not like, is it a like campaign, or is it like not join my Facebook group? It's just like they're engaging with you. So
Yeah.
that's how they're following you, because then you're going to basically show them more stuff. Got it.
100%. They do not have to follow you. They don't have to like your account. We do it this way with the traffic campaign to our Instagram because we did find for a long time we were running strictly engagement ads, which is a type of campaign inside of Facebook. Very, very, very cheap. However, because it was so cheap and we were just trying to get to engage with the content, we got a lot of people who just really weren't who we were looking for. And the quality of that engagement was just not so great. So we
Mm.
bumped it up to traffic to get them to our Instagram account. And since we did that, and this has been probably 6 months ago, and it's across the board, it's not just us, it's also our clients and our students. We recommended the same thing to them. And across the board, it has been a better quality of engagement. So definitely that. And they don't even have to go to the page. Like if they're still like engaging with it as far as like liking, commenting, sharing, if it's a video, if they watch a couple seconds of it, any of that is engagement and puts them on your list. So there's so much value in a campaign like that, honestly.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Then what else should we be running?
So yeah, well, it depends on who you are. So I mean, like, give me an example, and I can just give somebody a strategy based off what their business is.
Okay, so let's just say, whether you're starting out or not, you have these intros. Okay, so then it would be then what's next if, let's say, I either have a lead magnet or I'm running a live webinar or an on-demand webinar type of thing, and then I have my sale, like my signature offer, whatever
Yeah,
that is.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm probably going to tell you to run a leads campaign to your lead magnet if that's something that you want to pursue. And we can prioritize these campaigns so you don't have to run them all at the same time because budget is typically something people are worried about when they're getting started. And so if you are more concerned about getting people into your webinar, then you can still run a lead campaign, but to your webinar. So
Mhm.
one like little pro tip for people that I don't think a lot of people talk about is you can run a lead campaign to a lot of stuff like a discovery call or a challenge or a webinar. Anything that you're just collecting an email and a name is a lead campaign.
Mhm.
However, it's going to cost different amounts of money. Your cost per that lead will be different based off of how much you're asking from your people. Because even though it's free, you're still asking something of them, whether it's their time or their effort or whatever it is. So a download like a checklist or a PDF guide or something really just like low effort, easy for them to use, it's very inexpensive. I mean, we have clients who get them even at like 33 cents a lead, which is like stupid low. Normal costs for that are like anywhere from that to, like $4 or $5 a lead. It can vary. And then let's say you're doing a webinar, right? So if it's a live webinar, you're asking people to block off an hour or so on their calendar, show up live and consume your content, right? They have to remember it. There's just a lot to that. So that's going to cost more than if you're running an evergreen webinar. But you and I both know live performs better than evergreen. So there's always a balance, always a balance. And then if you're trying to get a discovery call on the books, that's going to cost more because they actually have to meet with you like one to one. And there's like a lot in that. They don't know if you're going to like hard sell them or what the situation's going to be. If you're running a 5-week challenge, you're asking 5 weeks for them. So like there's always going to be different costs. But if your priority is webinars, then run a lead campaign to that webinar and get some good leads and go sell them on the webinar and an email for sure.
I love it. And then when you had mentioned the I think you said in the last tier would be retargeting. So can you first explain what retargeting, because I think some people are like, I think I know what it means, but I don't know, or they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like what would be some examples that you would do for retargeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So retargeting is so cool because there's so many things you can do with it. So I told you earlier that Facebook keeps track of all these people that interact with you, right? So you actually can access the information Facebook has been harnessing and tell Facebook to show your ads to only those people. And so your options are, I think people don't know how much information that Facebook keeps. So like if anyone engages with anything on your Facebook or your Instagram, you can show something to them again. And you can choose, did they interact in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? If it's on a Meta-owned platform, you can go all the way up to a year. So it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can do in there. But then you can also narrow it down. So let's say you made a really awesome video that went viral, right? And it's just like crazy and it's all your ideal people and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to tell these people the next step for them, if they loved this video, is to do this. You can retarget specific video viewers on specific videos. So there's, I mean, like, options are so cool, and it's so inexpensive because you are just targeting people who don't need to be optimized. Like, Facebook doesn't have to figure out who your people are. They already know. So you don't have to spend as much money to pay into the Facebook like algorithm game. You've already beat it. Like, you already did it. So now you can just retarget them. And then also, if you do install the pixel, which again, just a simple copy paste of the code, then Facebook starts tracking the information on your website too. And so this is considered third-party data because Facebook has to go, it's not their platform that they're tracking, they're using their code, but it's third-party data. So that one's not as quite as reliable anymore because of the privacy laws, but we still use it every single time. First-party data is anything on a Meta platform because Meta owns that person's information and your information, and it's all in one place. So that one is super reliable and tends to be the lowest cost. Facebook did come out with the conversion API, but that's like, it's on, it's there, that's really detailed. Like, we can go into that, but this is like ads 2.0, right? So I don't even tell people to do the conversion API, which may be a little bit, I don't know, that may be a little radical. Somebody might come for me on that one, but I work with beginners and people who are overwhelmed and scared with ads. Like, do the simple option that still gets you results, you know? Like, why do we have to be so complicated if we're not spending $10,000, $20,000? Like, let's just keep it
Mhm.
simple. So the website, yeah, and I will tell you, if you have a signature offer and you're selling it from a webinar, you can retarget the people who went to your webinar page as long as there's 1,000 people or more, because 1,000's like their stat for how many people they need. Then you can retarget those people to your $15,000, $20,000 offer, 10,000, 2,000, whatever your high priced offer is. You can only show ads for that offer to the people who've already shown interest, and that will save you a ton of money in ad spend and get you much better results.
I love that. And also another reason why I like with retargeting is that you when because I okay, my next question is going to be about budget.
Okay.
But part of the reason is that everybody's like, I don't have enough budget to do this retargeting, and they leave it off.
Oh my gosh.
However, I know, big mistake, right?
Yes.
Especially with everything you just said. And if you think about it, when you're doing any type of budgeting an audience, you're wanting to go so big, so then it's like you want to reach more people, but the retargeting is so small of an audience, like she was saying, 1,000 or more. So really, even if you wanted to spend $100 a day on retargeting, sometimes it's not even going to spend that much. So then your retargeting budget can be way smaller than it would be for like a conversion, like a leads campaign, like she was talking about, right? And it's like vital to not miss. So when you were talking about the X's and putting band-aids on, like when you put in these retargeting ads into your thing, this is where you're capturing those people falling out of the funnel that might have signed up. Maybe they didn't even show up, but they really wanted this thing because why else would they have put their name and email, right? And
Yeah.
then it's like, I was at Target and I forgot, and oh, the kids had an event at school, or I had to pick them up sick, or what. It wasn't like maybe they didn't. It's like life gets in the way. And now you're putting that reminder back in front of them. And it's just, you're also giving them the ability to serve them, which is the whole reason why you're in business, is to make an impact, serve people, help them.
Mhm.
So by putting these things in there, you're not being a pain. You're being a reminder of what they wanted in the first place, what you know is going to help them. So I think that if you don't have retargeting in your strategy, make sure you do exactly what Ashley just said.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
need to
would
have it in there.
for sure. And I go so far as to say, if you don't have retargeting in your customer or in your strategy, you're really doing your customers a disservice. I mean,
Exactly.
I think sounds like most of your audience and most of my audience got into business to do something to help people. And they've gotten to a point where the thing they do helps their people. They're genuine. And
Yes,
so why in the world would you not want them to have access to that help? So
exactly.
it's hard, it feels salesy. I know it feels salesy and I hate it
And
too, but
yeah, well, and not only that, even if you're not selling anything, let's say you're like, wait a minute, I have my signature offer, but I haven't finished it yet, or I'm not ready to launch, or whatever. This is a great way, what Ashley first started talking about, like even with number one, where you're introducing yourself. So maybe you're introducing themselves, and now you're retargeting those people that watch that, B roll or whatever, with value. You're already posting on social, so you're just, but you're hitting in those people. So then you're staying top of mind and you're building this warm audience so that you can then retarget them again with the leads conversion. So even though it's like a leads conversion where you're supposedly getting this new person, you're retargeting the audience themselves. So there's this whole like method to Ashley's madness
Yes.
in here. And I think that's what, when people think retargeting, they think bottom of the funnel. Sometimes it's not always bottom of the funnel. Sometimes you can put it at the top or the middle, right? Depending on what you're doing. Or maybe you're even having a new offer, right? You have like an up, you're building your ladder or something like that. So many ways. I would definitely follow Ashley to learn more about all this, and we can get to that at the end. But I wanted to end it with budget because I know that that's a big thing, right? Oh, do I have the resources and I have to spend my money wisely? And am I just gambling my money? How do I know how much to start with? Like, I'm sure all these questions come up for a lot of people. So can you give us some guidance on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you are wanting to go bare bones with your budget, and you want to do this strategy, I typically say $5 for your engagement ads, that top of funnel stuff. For your lead magnet or your lead campaign, whatever you're doing in the middle, you could do $5 as well. I try to get people to spend a little bit more and do 10 there, just because it is so much cheaper to market on email than it is on Facebook ads. So I'm like, please get them onto your list. And then I spend $2 a day on retargeting. That's it.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So no excuse if you're just getting started. What is that? $15, $17 a day?
It ends up being about
Um,
$710 a month, and you'll get some really good results from that.
okay, so I love this for when you're getting started because I'm gonna hit some, this might sting a little to some people because what happens is, and you kind of touched on it before. If you could tell, I'm a big fan of Facebook ads.
I love
Well,
that.
because here's the thing. I have this new client and she's like, in 2024, we didn't do that great, right? So I'm looking at the numbers, and the client is for fractional chief marketing officer
Yeah,
work rather than funnel building, right? Just so I could put things into perspective.
love it.
So then I'm like, okay, well, what advertising or what, nothing. So what happened in 2023, she marketed to her list, to her followers, and it was gangbusters, right? But what happens if you're not adding to your list or building your following, you're going to run out of people to talk to, and then your revenue is going to drop, right? So you always need to be doing something. So even if you're building out whatever it is you're going to sell in 2025, if you have $710, you can be running something to not only build your following, build that warm audience, and build your list. So now take us to like next level. Let's just say, okay, I have, is there a percentage of like whatever your budget is, or maybe we can go off the the $17 a day? Like, how would you say if I'm already running ads and I want to take it to the next level, like how do we do that in percentage wise?
Yeah, I mean, we can do it a couple ways. You can tell me, hey, this is my budget. I want to spend it. You're like, I've got $2,000 a month to spend on that. And some people come to me like that. I do the
Mhm.
math. I say, well, it looks like your cost per purchase or your cost per lead, whatever we're looking at, cost this much. So if you can spend this much, you're looking at about this many leads. And so I think setting expectations, not just because from a client like service provider perspective, but just in your own head to be like, oh, I thought I could get 1,000 leads and you're telling me I can get 500. Like, that's good to know because 500 is not a failure. You just need to be
Yes.
realistic.
Yes.
And then if you don't have a budget, but you say, I want to get 100 sales and it costs me $15, $20 to get a sale, we'll do the math on that and say, this is how much money you need to spend to get there. So depending on what your goal is where I'm going to tell you to put your budget next. And it also depends on the price of your product. Can we go straight to a cold audience with your product? Because that shortcuts a lot of the way?
Right.
So those are some of the questions I typically try to get people to think through. And then there's answers to that question. I mean, it is simple. But if you have never been in Facebook ads, how are you supposed to know something that you just don't know? So that's the thing. Once you figure it out, when someone gives you good advice or whatever, it's not hard to complete.
Yes. And I love it. And I noticed that she didn't really give an answer because it depends on you and your business.
Yeah.
Everything is not cookie cutter. There's no guarantees in anything. It's all based on data driven decisions. So it's like she might tell you something, and maybe you're even at a better conversion rate, or right? So it's like, oh wait, we can actually do better than what she's telling you, or vice versa, right? So it all depends on your data. So if you are not tracking your data, that's, I think, also where to start. If you've already been running ads, like, gather in, like, how much are you paying? What was your ad spend? How many leads did you get? What was that cost per lead? All those kinds of things. So at least you're equipped to know, okay, what do I do with my budget if I wanted to increase it? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any last things that you wanted to add to anything?
No, I mean, everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, yes, 100%. You got this, girl. No, I think we're on the same page. And I always tell people, like, if you're so scared of ads and you're like, your knees are knocking, like, don't do them. Like, I'm not going to force you to do this. I think it could shortcut. I think it could help, but I'm also not going to be like, you have to do ads or your business will fail, because I don't believe that. But I do believe that Facebook ads give you a lot of freedom in your life. And I've seen that freedom and been the benefit of that freedom. And so if I can help someone else get there, then I'm going to do it. So that's my goal in life, but it's not the only way. And I know that.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get into Michelle's hot minute. So I'm going to ask you a
Woo!
few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So just answer the first thing that comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so what has taken you the longest to get good at or decent at?
Are we talking in business or life or a mix?
Whichever.
Okay. Probably not taking my business success or failure as a personal success or failure.
Hmm.
Still in
Hmm.
progress, but gotten a lot better at it.
I love that. I think we all struggle with that. Okay, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, fairy smut books.
What is your favorite thing to do with your kids?
Oh, we love to go to the park. We have so much fun.
What's your favorite way to de-stress?
I like to read.
Oh, you got to
My
the
fairy smut.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, what's your next travel destination?
Oh, going to Orlando next week, down your way.
Oh, I love it. Okay, and then lastly, what tells you most about a person?
Um, Typically how they talk about other people.
I
Mhm.
love it. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. I appreciate you so much, Ashley, from coming on the show today. Can you tell us where we can find you? And also, you do have an ads membership. Can you kind of just talk about that really quick?
Sure, yeah. So you guys can find me and my sister Elizabeth at on Instagram at the Paid Ad Academy. We're also on Facebook there, but we don't really spend a lot of time on Facebook, ironically enough. So come hang out on Instagram. And our website's the same, the Paid Ad Academy. And then our membership is called Big Break Club. And so if you want to check out all the details, you can do that at bigbreakclub.com. But yeah, it's a $27 a month membership, and we provide you with tools and resources and education. And we have some live calls, some Q&A stuff, and then we have a Facebook group where it's really fun and people come in and just ask their questions. We go live sometimes. So we have a really good time in that group, and it's been just like a huge thing for us.
Yes, and I love that. I mean, the price point is like what? 27. I mean, there's no excuse. Again, and we're letting go of excuses in 2025, right? Or whatever year you're listening to this at, because really, for that price and getting the resources and the support and help, it really gives you the confidence to do this on your own, because you're not going to be in it alone. So I absolutely love that you put that out there, because that really shows that you are here to serve. And like you said, and then when you're ready to say, okay, I'm really ready to get it off my plate, I've now, increased my revenue to whatever, I want to go to the next level with you. You said that you offered that as well. So I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again. I
of
appreciate
course.
you so much.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Yes, it was really great. All right, so there you have it. What's working now in 2025 with Facebook ads with Ashley Braswell. Definitely go check them out. You are going to love them so much. I'll drop where you can find everything in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed the show, and until next time, let's grow your business together.